everybody. I've been meaning to make this video for a while, but just never sort of got round to it. But here I am. So yeah, I just want to talk about my experience of being working class at Oxford and sort of, yeah, what the aftermath and all of that. So it was very odd. I would say don't let money put you off, because it is highly likely that you will get a significant scholarship, which I got, and I believe it took like a third off the tuition fees, and I had extra money on top of like maintenance grant and loan from Student Finance Company. So for the first time in my life, I actually had money, more than my middle class friends who, well, they always complained about being broke, but they would just ask their parents for money. So yeah, that's why they didn't need the fucking bursary. So yeah, don't let money put you off. Met a lot of great people, a lot of interesting people, people I could talk to for just hours about pretty much anything. No topic was off the table for discussion. So yeah, that was great. But I did notice how different their lives were to mine. For example, one of my close friends, his dad is a world-renowned literary critic and English professor, and I believe his mum is also an English professor, and he receives Christmas gifts from Slavoj Žižek. And my other close friend, mum was a TV producer, and his dad made documentaries, his stepdad made films, and he'd met Chris Morris, and he's met Jimmy Carr, he's met Richard Ayoade. It's a different world. It's a completely fucking different world. Just absolutely mental. There are a lot of people from London there. A lot. Like the majority, I would say. And my uni boyfriend lived in Wimbledon, which is posh as fuck. You know, he's got a fucking... His parents have a 3-story house in London. Yeah, they're loaded, and he doesn't think that he's rich. Went to a private school. He would like constantly recognise people at Oxford who went to his school. So it is it's a bit of an exclusive club in a way. And don't get me wrong, people were trying to be class conscious and all of that, but they just could not possibly understand. They had all these connections, they knew people, they knew opportunities, and it just seemed like I just had none of that. No idea how to, you know, get on in life and do what I actually wanted to. far less confidence than anyone else there. Like, way less. Like, it's insane how class affects your confidence. It is insane. And yeah, there was a lot of sort of white kids visiting Africa posting pictures on Facebook of how wonderful they are because they can, you know, afford to do that. And yeah, there was kind of moral hierarchy. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's like nice down to earth people there, but like, yeah, there's a lot of sort of craziness. So yeah, it was a shock to me to see that and to realise how much of a disadvantage I actually was at. Because while I was somewhat aware, I didn't really sort of realise it until that point. And I mean, my mental health was shit at the time anyway, but it was definitely a sort of shock to the system. Yeah, don't know how else to put that. And as for, you know, how it's benefited me, well, so far it kind of hasn't really. God, I got the education that I did, but I made the mistake of moving back to my hometown. Well, I mean, I say that, but I was worried about money and yeah. Which again, my friends didn't have to worry about as much because they could ask their parents if they needed help. But I couldn't. You know, my mum was a teaching assistant, and at the time my dad stacked shelves at Sainsbury's and he was in a lot of debt. And I don't talk to him now, so fuck knows what he's doing, but yeah. Whenever someone would ask what my parents do, I would tell them my mum's a professional photocopier, because that's basically what a teaching assistant is. And I'm a lab tech now, which is basically the same thing. And yeah, we do photocopy a fair bit. And I'm like, hey, I didn't sign up for this. I'm also made to clean fucking tables as well. There's nothing technical about that, I don't think. But yeah, so basically, where it gets you afterwards depends on where the fuck you are. If you're in a place with no jobs, my degree's in physics. In Carlisle, there are no jobs in physics, apart from maybe teaching. Yeah, there's fuck all. There's nothing. Like, hardly any, like, there's maybe a couple of web dev companies, but nothing of, like, the sort of scale you'd find in an actual proper city. So, yeah, it's been a bit frustrating because the degree doesn't get you anything if you don't have the means to use it. Like, if you're in, you know, bumfuck nowhere, and the only jobs that are available are, like, just working class jobs, then you're not gonna have any social mobility. It doesn't work like that. Like, my mum is a teaching assistant and she has a first class degree from Lancaster and a master's from Cambridge. And she's a teaching assistant. You know, like, it doesn't guarantee anything. And I wish that was more understood, because, like, a lot of people say, like, oh, degree from Oxford, you'll just kind of waltz into anywhere. No. There's, like, a lot more to it than that. Yeah. Not to mention, I ended up being, like, 1 or 2% off a 2-1. As I said, I struggled a lot with my mental health at university. And it absolutely killed me to be that close to having an acceptable grade and just fall short, you know? Like, it doesn't really matter how much potential you have if, you know, the circumstances aren't right. You know, shit's gonna go wrong. I was in a fucking relationship during my sort of final year. Well, I took a year out because of my anxiety and got into a fucking abusive, horrible relationship. And that prevented me from going on to my final year, masters. I was going to do an integrated masters. I fucking wish I'd done it. I feel a bit emotional now, actually. Yeah, it's still painful to sort of think about, because I didn't want to leave my boyfriend. I say boyfriend, he was about 10, 11 years older than me. Fucking nonce in sheep's clothing, basically. But he cheated on me while I was in Oxford for like a couple of months to do my exams, my final exams. And he cheated on me. But he didn't tell me until several months after. And he only told me as a joke. So that was just fucked. And honestly, it just completely fucks me over. It's hard to come back from that. So basically what I'm trying to say is just stick to your guns. You know, if you know that something is going to be good for you, like how I considered staying down south, staying in Oxford after graduating, I should have done that. Even though I was worried about money and all of that, because I have friends down there. We could have lived together. You know, they did live together, sharing a house. And I would much rather fucking share a house with friends than random strangers. Or my mum. I'm still at my mum's. And I fucking hate it. I'm glad I at least have somewhere to stay, but man, it's fucking... It's just stifling. So, yeah. What I want to say is, just look for opportunities. You know, it doesn't matter how sort of unlikely and unrealistic you think it is, because all of these rich and middle class kids, no, like, they don't even question that sort of thing. They just do it. And even the ones that do self-doubt, they can't self-doubt as much as someone who grew up poor. Someone who grew up with the threat of homelessness, or even has gone through that. You should know that this, like, self-belief, self-determination, confidence is absolutely sort of the key to happiness in life. You can't just let life and people walk all over you. So yeah, go and fucking get it. Yeah. It's not easy at all. And a degree from Oxford or Cambridge won't make your life easy. In fact, while I was there, I met homeless people who had gone to Cambridge. It does not solve everything. It's a fantastic diversion for about 3 or 4 years, but yeah. And don't put all your eggs in one basket either. I was like fixated on academia, but at the same time I was struggling with ADHD, depression, and like fucking metaphysical crisis bollocks, questioning why the fuck anything existed, and I didn't even think physics necessarily made any sense, which doesn't help when I'm fucking supposed to be studying it. Yeah. I don't even know what sort of advice I could give about that, but sometimes you just gotta accept that things don't make sense and just get on with it, honestly. That's the unfortunate thing about being inquisitive. It can kill the cat. And it's weird, like, I've noticed in this video that I've kind of been talking in a way that I don't usually talk. And I definitely adjusted my accent while I was down in Oxford. So maybe it's coming, that's like coming back while I'm talking about it. Because like, if you saw me with my Carlisle friends, it would be a completely different story, but here we are. Anyway, I think I've sort of rambled on enough. Hopefully there is something to be taken from this. Hopefully it's helped you in some way. God knows how. But yeah. See you later.